Hello there, it's Tara, your yoga bestie, and we have a great class to round out our throat chakra series. If you have a strap, that's great. If not, honestly, a hand towel will be really perfect for what we're doing with the strap anyway. So either way, go ahead and start out however you want to today because it doesn't matter. Recline, seated, child's pose, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And as you come into that space, just settle in any way that feels good. Determine where you want your arms and legs to be. And then as soon as you find that, go ahead and maybe kind of wiggle into that space. And once you feel settled in, go ahead and close your eyes as we start to tap into our Ujjayi breath. So inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Of course, we've got our little buddy, Lionel, here. And as you start to tap into your Ujjayi breath, give yourself permission just to let go of any thoughts or worries from the day so that you can focus in on the breath. Our breath is our energy source. It allows us to be present, and it kind of gets rid of any of those thoughts that can come into our minds and into play just in general. So as we inhale, we'll feel the space below the navel start to lift. As it draws upward, feel an expansion through the belly, the side bodies, the rib cage, and our breath draws all the way up to where it lifts the collarbones. On our exhalation, we'll feel our belly button draw in towards the spine, which will allow us to use all three parts of the lungs. And our Ujjayi breath is an audible breath, so you're gonna hear snoring-like sound in the back of the throat, kind of like you're fogging up a mirror with your nose. And so once you have gotten in tune with that, let's see if we can create a rhythm where we inhale to the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just continue with this rhythm. While you're doing so, as I mentioned, this is our final of our weeks in the fifth chakra, or our throat chakra, which also encompasses our jaw, our neck, our ears, our mouth, our shoulders. It's associated with the color bright blue or turquoise. It's responsible for things like communication, authenticity, and listening. And the affirmation I'm offering up for you that goes along with our fifth chakra is I am mindful of the energy my words carry. So you might inhale, I am mindful. Exhale of the energy my words carry. And feel free to utilize that whenever you like. I'll also be referring to it throughout our practice. But as we pay attention to this affirmation, just know that these are the types of things that start with the way that we think and what we're continually telling ourselves all the time, because no matter what it is, it's true. So because of the energy our words carry, I want to encourage you to be so over the top positive, so delulu about how amazing everything is. Because when we think about the best case scenario, don't we want that instead of worst case scenario? So anyway, something to think about. On our next inhale, we'll find a nice full body stretch, or whatever position we're in, we'll start to find some movement, just organic movement that sounds good to your body at this time. And then either from a reclined space or from a seated position, we'll bring our hands together at our heart center, our Anjali Mudra, as we set our intention for our practice today. And maybe that intention is utilizing our affirmation of I am mindful of the energy my words carry. Or maybe something else comes to mind that speaks to you. Please honor that. And we'll take another big breath in here. Exhale, let it go. And then we're going to make our way into our sphinx pose. So we're getting onto our bellies and just spreading through the fingers nice and wide, making sure that our arms are nice and parallel. You might wiggle a little bit through the hips, and then find some cat-cow-like movement here. So as we inhale, drawing the gaze up, shoulders back. Exhale, rounding the upper back as you gaze towards the navel, and just finding a rhythm with your breath as you inhale and exhale here. Nice. And the next time that you come forward, let that go and start to get into the neck. So maybe bring your chin over towards each shoulder, bring it down and bring it up. Maybe start to make some circles here. Just kind of see what's going on. It's a great place to do it from because you can't roll your head back too far. Big breath in. Exhale. And then go ahead and tuck the toes under. Lift up those hips for our forearm plank. Keep in mind you can always lower the knees down in forearm plank or keep them lifted. Breathing into those side bodies, really expanding the rib cage as we inhale. Exhale. Big breath in. And as we exhale, walk those feet up, coming into your dolphin pose. So really working your chest towards your thighs, maybe shaking the head out to make sure you're not holding any tension here in the neck. As we breathe into those side bodies. We're here for a few breaths as we inhale. Exhale. We inhale. Exhale. Last one, big breath in. And then exhale, lower those knees, find your child's pose. It's always nice after dolphin pose to find a little bit of a resting position, or maybe it's an upright seated position, whatever sounds good to you. Excuse me. Oof. We'll take a big breath in here. Exhale. And we'll make our way into our first down dog from here. So start to bicycle out the legs. Maybe move the hips from side to side. Check in with your breath as you come into this shape. And then soft bend in the knees as we gaze forward. We're going to come all the way to the top of our mat into our forward fold where we'll find our strap or our towel if we have a prop available to us. And we'll roll all the way up to standing. We're going to take our prop in our left hand if we're using it, bringing that hand behind the head, and then using your right hand to bring that elbow behind the head. So we could also stay here, or we walk those right fingertips up somewhere along the strap or our clothing, or maybe we have our fingertips. And once we have that set up, we're just going to move from side to side, opening up in the shoulder. And then we'll come to center. We're moving into that forward fold. So big bend in the knees as we come all the way forward. So using this arm variation and gravity, which will make it a little bit more intense. Maybe sway from side to side or shake the head out as if you're saying yes and no. Big breath in. And then as we exhale, bring that left hand down. Bring the right hand to the small of your back as you twist open towards the right. You can keep a soft bend in that left knee. And then you might release, if you have a prop, reaching that right arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower that hand down. We inhale, lengthening halfway. And then we'll plant the hands as we step it back into our plank or push-up position, super strong. Full breath in. And then as we exhale, slowly lower, either all the way down or to a hover chaturanga. Inhaling into your cobra or maybe up dog. And we'll exhale into our down dog. Finding some space here. Let's go ahead and lift up our right leg. We'll open up that hip, heel to behind, knee up towards the ceiling, where we can stay or we can start to make some circles, going in one direction, going in the other direction. Inhale, we straighten. Exhale, knee draws the nose as we bring that foot all the way through. And if we have our blocks, we can always have them to each side of the foot as we start to shift forward and back in the space. Just kind of seeing what's going on in the body. I'm filming this in the morning, which is unusual, so it's definitely a different situation for me than it would be in the afternoon. So just keep in mind what time of day it is. Next time we shift it forward, hold it here in this runner's lunge, and then left hand is down, right arm reaches up as we come into this runner's twist. Stacking shoulder on top of shoulder. Left knee lowers as we move into our exalted. So we're bringing that left arm overhead and we're moving back into those cow face arms. So if you need to utilize that strap or that towel or whatever prop, feel free to do so. We're slightly gazing past that right shoulder here. Big breath in. Exhale, and then tuck the back toes under. We're straightening both legs as we face the opposite long edge of the mat. And then we'll bring our left toes to the back, setting up for this variation of triangles. We're gonna lean in, and once we can't lean in anymore, we bring that left hand down, and we keep our right arm where it is as we start to open and close here, just kind of finding some space here in the shoulder. Next time you lean back, go ahead and extend that right arm up for full triangle pose. And then we bring that hand down. We'll bring the right knee down and push into the mat to extend that left leg back. So we're coming into this variation of spinal balance. And then we're bringing that left knee behind the right. So we're coming into cow face legs, facing the long edge of the mat. So we're to the side of the mat here. And then arms will reach up overhead as we inhale. Exhale, lean in towards the back of the mat as you reach that left arm overhead. And then we switch it out. Left arm comes down as right arm comes up overhead. As you exhale, gaze towards the front of the mat. We're unraveling for half moon, so you might have a block here for the right hand as you open it up towards that left side of the mat. Inhale. On the exhale, bring that knee in towards your chest, one-legged mountain. And then we're moving into eagle pose. So left leg is on top and left arm is underneath as we sit back into that right heel. Shoulders are down as elbows come away from the chest. Inhale. Exhale, we'll let that go for mountain pose. All right, coming back to the top of the mat, maybe taking our strap or towel. This time it'll be in the right hand, because that's the one on top. We can use our left hand to bring the elbow behind. Start to walk those fingers up. And then once you have your arms all set, kind of lean in from side to side. Inhale, we come to center. Exhale, we'll come into that forward fold here. Bending those knees, finding some movement, noticing what the breath is doing, because with all this going on, it could be very shallow. So make sure to tap into it. One more breath in. Exhale, release that right hand down as you bring the left hand to the small of your back, twisting towards the side. So you can keep a bend in that right knee. And then we'll eventually reach that arm up with or without our prop in it, like we're giving it as an offering. One more breath in. Exhale, let that go. Place your prop to the side. We'll inhale, lengthening halfway. Then plant the hands as you step or float back. Moving through your vinyasa, or you can go right to down dog. From our down dog, left leg lifts this time as we open up the hip, heel to behind, knee up towards the ceiling. We'll start to make some circles going in one direction, then the other direction. Left leg lifts. Exhale, knee draws the nose as we bring that foot all the way through for our runner's lunge. So again, maybe utilizing those blocks as we shift forward and back here. And the next time that we shift it forward, hold it here, runner's twist. So right hand is down, left arm reaches up. And then we lower that back knee down for exalted, reaching that right arm overhead, where we're coming back into those cow face arms. So feel free to get your prop if that's helpful. Otherwise, find your version. Big breath in. Exhale. Tucking the back toes under, we'll straighten those legs as we face the long edge, or the opposite long edge of the mat. And then right toes face the back, setting up for that triangle variation where we'll release the right arm down, and then we'll start to open and close here in the shoulder. Next time we open, we extend that arm up towards the ceiling, full triangle pose. And then lower that left hand down, lower the left knee down as we push into the mat to create that spinal balance. Just using the leg in this variation though. Inhale. As we exhale, right knee comes behind the left and we sit to the side of the mat, so we're facing the opposite direction. Once we are in our cow face legs, arms will reach up overhead as we inhale. Exhale, lean in towards the back as the right arm comes overhead. And then we switch it. Right arm comes down, left arm comes up overhead. Inhale. Exhale, gaze towards the front of the mat. We're unraveling for half moon, so you might have your block there for the left hand as you lift up that right arm and leg. Inhale. Exhale, bring that knee in towards your chest. We're moving into that one-legged mountain pose to come into eagle pose. So right leg is on top, right arm is underneath, working those shoulders down. Elbows are away from the chest. Big breath in. Exhale, release. Let that go as you find your mountain pose. And take a full breath in here. Exhale. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we lengthen. Hands plant as we make our way to our down dog. So option to take our full vinyasa or step from plank pose to down dog. Big breath in. Exhale. Bending the knees, we gaze forward as we step or float. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, forward fold. Let's reverse. Reach it up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we lengthen. Hands plant as we step or float. Lowering or hovering. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhaling, down dog. Big breath in. Exhale, bend the knees. We gaze forward as we step or float. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, forward fold. We reverse. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthening halfway. Hands plant as we step or float back. Lowering or hovering. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhaling into your down dog or any resting position of choice, because that concludes our warm-up for today's class. If you're new to my class, we take basically all the poses from the warm-up for one of two of our main sequences. Each main sequence we'll do a little bit slower, maybe some little options that you can take with you or not as we pick up the pace, because we'll repeat those things twice, and then we bring them together at the end. So I call the first one peanut butter, the second one jelly, and then those two sequences we bring together at the end become a delicious peanut butter and jelly sequence sandwich, which means there's lots of repetition. So take breaks, listen to your body, do what you need to do, because that's what's most important. Peanut butter section starts out in child's pose, which is kind of awesome, right? So we'll make our way to our child's pose, taking a full breath in here. Exhale. Inhale, I am mindful. Exhale of the energy my words carry. All right, let's go. So we'll come into our tabletop position from here. Extending through our right leg, we flex through that foot. And then we're bringing that right knee behind the left as we sit to the side of our mat. So this already feels familiar. Right arm comes up overhead as we come into that side bend. And then we switch it out. So we'll switch it out to where that left arm comes up overhead. And then gaze to the back of your mat. We're unraveling into half moon. Knee comes into chest for that one-legged mountain pose to our eagle. So right leg is on top, right arm is underneath as we sit it back into that heel. This is where we change. So keep the arms in eagle pose, but send that right leg back. An option to come into the full crescent variation or a supported one with that knee down. So just listen to what your body needs. Inhale, we lift up through the chest, so we might bring those elbows up towards the ceiling. Exhale, both shoulders come to the inside of this left knee for a humble variation. Take a full breath in. And then as we exhale, release, forearm plank. So you can get there from coming into your tabletop position, or you might bring those forearms down right away as you come into it. From our forearm plank, we walk those feet up, coming into dolphin. And we can stay in dolphin, because you're there. Dolphin's no joke. So feel free to stay in dolphin if you wanted to add on. Maybe you come into an inversion like a headstand or a forearm balance if that's in your practice. If you're new to it, I want to recommend you do not kick up if you're going into headstand because that involves your neck, not a good option. You can kick up though if you're going into forearm balance because your head is off the mat. I like it to where my arms kind of come together, creating this triangular shape so they're not parallel. And I like to lift up one leg and keep that leg lifted as I kind of tap and kick up. And then the idea is that if you have air time, you start to really draw those legs together and really push the mat away with those forearms. Whatever you choose, child's pose is next. So take a nice big breath in here. Exhale. And then we come into our second side. So we're moving into our tabletop position to spinal balance. So left leg extends this time. And we bring that knee behind as we sit into the side of the mat for those cow face legs. So yes, you'll be facing the same direction for this variation because we're turning around the whole time. Left arm comes up overhead. And then right arm comes up overhead. We face the front as we move into our half moon, unraveling here. And then the left knee draws into chest as we come into our one-legged mountain, just to transition into eagle pose. Left leg on top, left arm is underneath. Inhale. Exhale, unravel the legs, but keep the arms the same. And we can either come into our crescent pose or a supported crescent pose. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, humble variation. Big breath in. Exhale, we release coming into our forearm plank. However we want to get there. We discussed that before. And then we walk it up to our dolphin pose where we stay or we play. Whatever feels right for your practice today. Either way, we meet in child's pose. All right, let's start to pick up the pace. So moving into our tabletop, right leg extends, and then it comes behind as we sit to the side of the mat. Right arm overhead as we lean in towards the front. And then we switch left arm overhead as we lean in towards the back. Unravel to your half moon. Knee to chest as we move into eagle pose, right on top, right arm underneath. We'll release, crescent or supported version. Inhale, lift up to the heart. Exhale, humble. Release for that forearm plank where we walk the feet up. For dolphin, inhale, coming into that tabletop position and extending through the left leg. Exhale, left knee behind the right as we sit to the side of the mat. Left arm overhead as we reach to the back. Right arm overhead as we reach towards the front. And we unravel for half moon. Left knee comes in as we move into our eagle pose, left leg on top, left arm underneath. And then we unravel to come into our crescent, where we lift up through the chest. Exhale, bringing it into our humble. Releasing for forearm plank, walking it up to our dolphin. Option to add, or we come into child's pose. You're doing awesome. Tabletop position on the inhale as we extend through the right leg. Exhale, knee comes behind as we sit to the side of the mat for those cow face legs. Right arm overhead as we reach towards the front. Left arm overhead as we reach towards the back. We unravel for half moon. And then bringing that knee into the chest, we move into our eagle pose. Right leg is on top, right arm is underneath. Releasing for crescent or supported crescent. We inhale, lifting up. Exhale, release. Forearm version of our plank pose. Walk those feet up for our dolphin. And then knees lower for child's pose. Almost there. Tabletop position. Extend that left leg and bring the knee behind for those cow face legs as we sit to the side of the mat. Left arm comes up overhead as we lean to the back. Right arm comes up overhead as we lean to the front. And then we unravel for our half moon. Knee draws in as we move into our eagle pose, left leg on top, left arm underneath. And then we move into our crescent, where we'll inhale, lifting up through the chest. Exhale, coming into this humble variation. We release for forearm plank. And then we walk up for dolphin. Knees come down. Child's pose. Well done. That completes the peanut butter portion of our practice. So great time to check in with the body, the breath, get a drink of water, towel off, whatever you need. Maybe find a little bit of stillness, just focused in on your breath. Inhale, I am mindful. Exhale, of the energy my words carry. Again, inhale, I am mindful. Exhale, of the energy my words carry. For jelly, since it's a jelly time, we're going to be moving to the front of our mat in Malasana, our yogic squat. So know that if this is a lot on your body, maybe you have some sort of prop underneath your seat to help kind of find this position, or you might make it more of a low goddess if that feels better in the body. But we will not be here for long, even though it's the first pose that we start in for this sequence. That being said, if you wanted to play with anything while you're here, like a crow pose, kind of climbing onto the arms, kind of seeing what happens, feel free to do so. Feel free to play. Maybe bring the tops of the hands together, getting a nice wrist stretch. Or maybe you're just here, closing the eyes, focused in on your breath. You're doing amazing. Take one more breath in here. And then as we exhale, lower the hands, step the left foot back, runner's twist. So right arm will reach up as we open up towards the right side. And then bring that back knee down as we lift up for our exalted, just like we did in our warm-up. So we're finding those cow face arms. And then we'll tuck our toes under, lifting up to where both legs are straight. We face the opposite long end for that triangle variation. So left toes face the back as we lean in, and then left arm releases. You can find a little bit of movement here for the shoulder. And then we'll extend that arm up towards the ceiling as we come into our full triangle pose. Or sky. I have a ceiling. Take one more breath in. Exhale. Lower that right hand down. We're coming to a seated twist, so just bring the right leg behind the left, and then we twist towards the left. Option when you're here to move into a variation of side crows. So you want to make sure your seat is lifted so that your shoulders and your seat are in line with each other. So you can come onto your toes and use either one or both arms to lift up those legs. Just an option. Take a full breath in here. Exhale. And then gaze to the back. Swing your left leg back as you bring your hands forward, and we'll come into our down dog. From that down dog, we bend the knees, gaze forward as we walk, float, crawl to Malasana. So we're already to the second side. Take a big breath in here. As we exhale, hands lower, right foot steps back as we come into our runner's twist. And then lower the back knee down as you lift up for that exalted, moving into those cow face arms, so you always have the option of including any of the props that you might want. Back toes tuck under as we straighten those legs. And then we come into that triangle variation. So right toes face forward, lean, lean, lean. And then we extend that right arm down. You can find a little bit of shoulder opening here. And then we'll reach that left arm up towards the ceiling or the sky. Inhale. Exhale, lower that left hand down. Seated twist, so bring the left knee behind the right, and we twist towards the right. Again, option to stay here, or we can move into that arm balance if we want to play around. Totally optional. Big breath in. Exhale. And then face forward, swing that right leg back as you bring the hands forward and step it into your down dog. Bend the knees, gazing forward as we step, float to crawl, Malasana. Inhaling here. Exhale, hands lower as we step the left foot back. Inhale, runner's twist. Exhale, lower the back knee as we lift up to exalted, finding those cow face arms. We straighten both legs as we face the opposite way. Left toes come to the back as we move into our triangle, where we reach that left arm down, and then we can extend the right arm up. Bring those fingertips down for our seated twist facing the back as we twist towards the left. Gaze back forward. Bring your left leg behind you as you bring your hands forward, down dog. All right, make your way to Malasana at the back of the mat. Inhale. Exhale, hands lower as right foot steps back. We inhale, runner's twist. We exhale, lowering that back knee. Inhale, exalted, coming into our cow face arms. And then we'll tuck our back toes under to straighten the legs as we face the opposite direction. Right toes face forward as we lean in, triangle pose. And then left hand comes down as we come into our seated twist towards the right. Gazing forward, we'll swing that right leg back. Hands come forward as we come into our down dog. All right, big bend in the knees, we gaze forward. Make your way to Malasana. Inhale. Exhale, hands lower, left foot steps back as we inhale to our twist. Exhale, knee lowers as we lift up for exalted with cow face arms. Straightening both legs, left toes face the back, coming into our triangle variation. Right hand lowers, seated twist as we twist towards the left. Facing the back, swing the left leg behind you, hands come forward, down dog. Almost there, big bend in the knees, gaze forward, make your way to Malasana. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down as we step the right foot back. Runner's twist. Back knee lowers as we lift for exalted with those cow face arms. Straightening those legs. And then right toes face forward as we come into this triangle variation. Left hand comes down, seated twist towards the right. We release, swing that right leg back as hands come forward, down dog. Or any resting position you like. How are we doing? Are we ready? I hope so, because it is my favorite part of the practice. It is peanut butter and jelly time. And yeah, so you've been everywhere already. Your body has become acclimated to it. There's nothing new. Just breathe and move in the way you have. We inhale. I am mindful, exhale of the energy my words carry. So tell yourself all the amazing things, give yourself the pep talk. And when you're ready, we'll come into our child's pose because it's peanut butter and jelly time. Again, I am mindful of the energy my words carry. Okay, shift it forward into that tabletop where the right leg extends, and then we bring it behind for those cow face legs as we sit to the side. Right arm comes up overhead as we side bend, and then left arm comes overhead. Gaze to the back, we open and unravel to our half moon. Then right knee draws in as we move into our eagle pose. Right leg is on top, right arm is underneath. Big breath here. Exhale, we'll send that right leg back as we come into our crescent and we'll lift up for the back bend. We then come into our humble version as we bring both shoulders to the inside, and we release for our forearm plank all the way up to our dolphin. And then lower the knees down, taking a moment in child's pose. And when we're ready, to down dog, so we can go right into our jelly portion, where we walk or float to Malasana. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down. We'll step the right foot back as we come into our runner's twist. And then back knee lowers as we lift up for exalted, coming into our cow face arms. Straighten those legs. Right toes face forward as we lean in towards the front. And then we release into our triangle pose. Left hand then comes down as we come into our seated twist towards the right. You did it. So swing that right leg back, hands come forward for down dog, and then we lower those knees down, child's pose. As we set up for our second side, you're doing amazing. So inhale, lift up into your tabletop. Left leg lifts this time as we bring that knee behind the right. So we're sitting to the opposite direction. Left arm comes overhead as we lean in towards the front of the room. And then right arm comes overhead as we lean in towards the back, unraveling for our half moon. Left knee draws into chest. Eagle pose, left leg is on top. Left arm is underneath. And then keeping the arms, we step it back for our crescent, where we find our back bend. And then we come into this humble variation forward, where we release the arms, making our way to forearm plank, to our dolphin. And then little mini break, coming into our child's pose. We set up into our down dog, and then we walk, float, crawl to Malasana at the back of the mat. Inhale. Exhale, hands lower, left foot steps back as we find our runner's twist. Back knee lowers as we lift up for exalted, and then we move into those cow face arms. Straightening the legs, we face the other direction. Toes come to the front as we lean in towards the front. We release for our triangle pose. Big breath in. Exhale, lower those right fingertips down, and then left knee comes behind as we twist towards the left. From here, we gaze forward. We swing the left leg back as the hands come forward, and we make our way to our down dog, which means that you did it. Yay. Feels good to be done with that, doesn't it? Really nice work. From this space, go ahead and have any props that you might want nearby. We're going to make our way onto our backs. So you can place the soles of the feet onto the mat. Arms could reach forward as we draw the chin in towards our chest, and we'll make our way onto our backs, one vertebra at a time. And as you come here, you can extend the arms out to the sides like you're making the letter T, and just let those legs windshield wiper from side to side, releasing anything you might be holding on to in the lower back. It's a great time to get in anything else that you might be craving from your practice today. So maybe that is a reclined inversion or another back bend here. Maybe you're ready for Shavasana, which is where we'll come to next. So when you're ready, go ahead and extend those legs out in front of you in a nice wide stance, taking up space on your mat. And I like to remind you to take up space on your mat because our practice is a reflection of our lives off the mat. So the idea is that if we take up space here, we take up space once we go out into the world. And as you come into this final pose, take a moment to have so much gratitude for yourself for showing up today, so much gratitude for all the hard work that you put in, and so much gratitude for this feeling that you have right now, which you created. So be proud of yourself. Know that I'm so proud of you. And just let your breath be soft and your body still as you find Shavasana. As always, take as long of a Shavasana as you need, but know that when you're ready, you can start to awaken by wiggling your fingertips and your toes, reaching the arms up overhead as you awaken to this new body. And then bring the knees into your chest. Give them a nice big hug as you roll to your side in your fetal-like pose, our pose for new beginnings. I am mindful of the energy my words carry. Take this feeling with you as you leave the mat. That is when our true yoga begins. When you're ready, we meet in a seated position of choice. Hands will come to heart center, our Anjali Mudra, as we tuck our chin under. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I do not take it lightly that you allow me to guide you. It is always a true blessing. And until next time, namaste. Bye.